Let's be honest. Have you ever looked at enterprise Java development and just thought, wow, that looks complicated? All that setup, the configurations, it can feel like a mountain to climb. Well, today, we're going to flatten that mountain. We are going to demystify Spring Boot and take you on a super fast journey from I'm confused to I've got this.
So here's our game plan. We'll start by taking a peek at life before Spring Boot, just so we can really appreciate the problems it solves. Then, we'll introduce the solution, uncover the magic that makes it work, and then, the best part, we'll actually create our very first project. We'll get it running, and at the very end, I'm going to hand the keys over to you. All right, first up, let's hop in the time machine for a second. To really get why Spring Boot is such a huge deal, you got to understand what the world of Java looked like before it came along. And I'm not kidding, it was a whole thing. You had to manually set up and configure everything. We're talking about wrestling with these enormous, complex XML files, setting up a completely separate web server, and then writing pages and pages of boilerplate code just to get a simple app to say, "Hello world." It was powerful, for sure, but fast and fun? Not so much. And this slide just lays it all out. On the left, you've got the old way, manually wrangling servers, getting lost in XML, and just writing the same setup code again and again. But then look at the right, the new way. The Spring Boot way. Servers are just built right in, configuration happens automatically, and your code is clean and minimal. It is a complete night and day difference.
So out of all that painful complexity, a solution popped up that completely changed the game for Java developers everywhere. So let's meet the hero of our story, Spring Boot.
In a nutshell, this is it right here. Spring Boot doesn't replace the incredibly powerful Spring framework. Think of it more like a supercharger for it. It takes all that existing power and just makes it ridiculously easy to use by giving you smart, sensible defaults right out of the box. The whole goal is to get you building apps that you can, literally, just run. So, this is where it gets really good. Let's look at the concrete benefits. First, no more XML. That's a huge sigh of relief for any developer who's been there. The built-in servers mean you don't have to go install and manage something like Tomcat yourself. And auto-configuration, that's the secret weapon. It literally looks at your project and intelligently sets things up for you. And when you're done, you just get a single, simple jar file. Every single step is simplified.
Now, this all sounds great, maybe a little too great, right? How in the world does Spring Boot pull all this off? Let's peek behind the curtain and see how the magic trick is done.
Exactly! It really does feel like magic, but I promise you, it's not. The secret sauce is actually made of two incredibly powerful design principles: inversion of control and dependency injection. Let's break those down.
Okay, the first ingredient, inversion of control or IOC. Imagine you're a chef. Instead of having to grow your own tomatoes and make your own pasta from scratch, you're in a fully stocked 5-star kitchen. You just say, "I need tomatoes," and the kitchen, in our case, the Spring container, hands them to you. You've inverted the control from yourself to the framework.
And here's what that looks like in actual code. On the left, the old way. You are responsible for creating a new car object. But look at the right. With Spring, you just declare that you need a car. You use that little @auto-outed annotation, and Spring's IOC container goes, "Got it," and handles all the creation and gives it to you. You just ask, and you receive. So if IOC is the whole philosophy of letting the kitchen manage the ingredients, then dependency injection is the action. It's the kitchen staff actually walking over and handing you the tomatoes you ask for. It's the process that makes inversion of control a reality. Spring sees your class needs something, and it injects that dependency right where you need it. Let's make this super concrete. Say our car class needs an engine to work. With dependency injection, we just tell Spring, "Hey, this car has a dependency on an engine." It's then Spring's job to go find or create an engine and provide it. The car doesn't know or care how the engine was built. This creates something called loose coupling, and it is a huge deal. It means your code is way cleaner, 1,000 times easier to test, and just simpler to maintain in the long run. Okay, that's enough theory. The absolute best way to really understand Spring Boot is to just build something. So let's roll up our sleeves and create our very first project.
It's honestly this simple. First, make sure you've got Java and your favorite IDE ready to go. Then, the real fun starts at start.spring.io. This website is called the Spring Initializer. It's where you pick your settings and add any dependencies, which are just bundles of functionality that you might need. So, if you want to build a website, you add the Spring Web dependency. Then you click Generate, and boom, it gives you a perfect starter project all zipped up and ready to go.
We've got our project. And now, for the most satisfying part of all, running it and seeing it come to life. Let's see what happens when we hit that big green play button.
So when you open up the project, you're going to find this main application class. And right at the top, you'll see this single, super powerful annotation, @Spring Boot application. This one little line is like the big red on switch for everything. It tells Spring to fire up the auto configuration, scan for all your other code, and just get the entire application ready to run.
And when you do hit Run in your IDE, this is the magic you'll see in your console. That beautiful line, Tomcat started on port 8080. And just like that, with basically zero code written by you, you have a full-blown web server up and running, just waiting for requests. That's the power of those embedded servers we were talking about.
But what if you don't want to use port 8080? Easy. Configuration is a breeze. In your project, you'll find a file called application.properties. You can just add one line, server.port equals 8081. Or if you prefer a more structured look, you can use a YAML file instead. Both do the exact same thing. It's totally flexible and super straightforward.
All right, we've covered the why, the how, and the what. I've shown you the fundamentals and gotten you to the starting line. Now it's time for you to take the wheel.
Here is your first mission, should you choose to accept it. First, try changing the port to 8082, just like we talked about. Then, see if you can figure out how to print a message to the console when the app starts up. And for a little bonus challenge, try to add a simple web controller so you can see Hello Spring Boot in your web browser. This is how you really make the knowledge stick. And that's really it. You now get the core ideas that make Spring Boot one of the most popular Java frameworks on the planet. All that old complexity? It's gone, replaced by simplicity and speed. So the only real question left is, with this power at your fingertips, what are you going to build first?